Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The situation as of last day in the ATO had some specials in the course of the day. The militia unsuccessfully attacked checkpoint at Avdiivka and Shakhtarsk and Nikishina and Shakhtarsk district. All the attacks were offset, and also there were shelling of the Ukrainian positions at Donetsk at the airport and at other places. And at 2300 on the 22nd, there was an actual ceasefire. There are no casualties in the Ukrainian forces. So under the peaceful plan of President Poroshenko's, 6 Ukrainian officers were released, were held hostages previously. They all are receiving psychological and medical assistance. We have dislocation of the Russian forces at the Ukrainian border. There's rotation of units that enter in Ukraine, live in Ukraine, taking place of the units being rotated. The Russian side are still preparing combatants in the military camps. So on the course of last day, there were clashes between our border guards and the Russian forces. There are no violations of Ukrainian airspace by the drones, the Russian drones. There are cars that are providing direction finding and raid observations on the Russian side. At Krasnotarivka and Luhansk Oblast, there was units of the Russian forces observed that were trying to intercept radio communications of the border guards and the Ukrainian forces. And we would like to emphasize that we should make as few calls to the people in the ATO as is humanly imaginable. This regime is now observed, and because such interception is done around the clock, situation in the ATO in Mariupol, the situation is controlled at road posts around the city. We also have civil works and fortification maintenance for the road posts and protection of the city. Local population are supporting operations of the Ukrainian forces and authorities. They are helping with the fortifications. Activists of civil organizations are providing for the road posts water and warm clothing. In Luhansk Oblast, partially the cutoffs of gas supply of in 26 communities, 172,000 people, and the cutoff covers completely 53 communities. Yesterday, the mortar shelling hit Luhansk cogeneration plant, and a Mr. Harmash was apprehended yesterday. He was providing information for representatives of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic. At this point, there's pre-trial investigation against this person under Article 258 of the Terrorist Act. In Donetsk yesterday, there was a clash between members of the illegal militia of Plot and Kalmians. In the course of that clash, 5 terrorists from Kalmias were killed. In Chels, Luhansk Oblast, ATMs of Oshad banks became operational. 7 terminals can now serve their customers, and experts of UK Telecoms and people responsible for energy supplies provided supplies of telecommunication equipment to restore telephone communication at Luhansk, Krasnodar, Vinkita, Popasna, and Popasna, Luhansk. In full scope, internet services are restored on Chers, Bryansk, Krasnoluch, Talhano, and Kirov. So more than 80% of Luhansk Oblast are provided with the services of communication. And at Mariupol, Ukrtelecom is providing intercity and international communication services. Petro Poroshenko and Angela Merkel, during the telephone conversation, expressed their joint position, creation of buffer zone and creation of that district observation and verification of SCD that will test compliance with the accords by all the parties. Angel Merkel is in favor of withdrawing all the Russian forces, and she emphasized the urgent necessity to control the Russian-Ukrainian border for effective realization of the ceasefire regime. Interlocutors agreed that only after implementation of the Minsk Accords of the 5th of September and of the 19th of September by all the parties will be able to state progress in peaceful settlement. Urmas Paet, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, declared that Estonia is preparing for the east of Ukraine humanitarian aid and foodstuffs up to 1 million euros for assistance to Ukraine. And today 10 Ukrainian military officers were directed to Estonia for their convalescence, and they will stay there till their full recovery. All the costs are covered by Estonia. Minister of Defense of Czech Republic, Marin Stupnitsky, announced that people wanted in the ATO, Ukrainian military officers will be able to get treatment in Czech hospitals. The Czech Republic will provide all the necessary materials and means for the Ukrainian soldiers to be able to serve in extreme cold. And the representative of France, Alexander Giorgini, declared that France, together with their partners, will consolidate efforts to reach peaceful settlement for the east of Ukraine, observance of territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine, and multilateral dialogue and comprehensive dialogue for the Norman format, so-called, and also with CD, said this representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Giorgini said that Mistral supplies is impossible for France at this point. That's all the information. So for 1+1, tell us please. Yesterday the Polish leadership announced that they were prepared to provide military assistance and weapons if Ukraine approaches them. So Ukraine didn't approach, or maybe there are some decisions of the military of the Security and Defense Council for procurement of any machinery, its delivery and transportation. This is for our defense agencies and enforcement agencies through Ukroboronprom, the state-run concern. And one question from the back of the audience. We are here. STB Vikna news about shelling of the road posts. Where did it happen geographically? Can you point that in the map? And about the radio location units, what was the number, and in more detail how they operated? I cannot provide you with more detail as to the road posts. No. You should stay at the monks. How can I show you? So, all right, about shelling of the road post. It happened yesterday at Avdiivka, Dobropilla, Donetsk Airport, and town of Shchastya. And we state that the number of shelling and the road posts shelled is getting smaller every day. Irina Kurila, 2 plus 2 TV channel. Can you tell us clearly how you form the list of killed personnel? What commanders should do? What is the chain of reporting? Based on the results of every day at a certain point, and that point is specified by the ATO leadership, all the commanders should provide lists of casualties attached to the report on any action at in the area of their deployment. And this information is provided to the ATO staff. The ATO staff provide this information for Kiev leadership, and this information is then announced. So do I get it right? And that's company leaders, battalion leaders, and then, yes, company, first platoon commanders, company commanders, battalion commanders, brigade commanders, leadership of the ATO, and then Kiev. That's the chain of command, chain of reporting. Another clarification, you said that at Mariupol everything was peaceful, but yesterday we had this information that at Komentsernova, if I'm not mistaken, our officers were attacked by the Russian soldiers, Russian military officers dressed up as the local militia at Komentsernova. It was about Mariupol. At Mariupol everything is fine, but there are some road posts where there are some cases of shelling and firing, and if there's such a case, Ukrainian forces are shooting back, but they do not make any offensives. There was just firing or shelling. If we have no further questions, I would like to thank Colonel Lysenko. Tomorrow at 12:30 we'll have another briefing. And now our next press briefing from Ukrainian Railways into